Hey, I'm on the edge of my seat here, back again with another brand new video, and today we will be no-damaging all the boss fights in Lost Roblox on Legend. And this first fight, it is very easy, however, it's very hard to juggle Kosuke here because he adopts a sort of ability to remove his entire body, and without his body, his gravity properties actually change. In fact, in the hands of a much more skilled fighter, Kosuke could beat Yagami, but since Kosuke's hockey ability is so low, he can pretty much only resist juggling, but not resist a beatdown. What a shame. I know there is some confusion with this Roblox series since it is so similar to Yakuza, but it is a different series of games, though in a sense they could kind of be considered a DLC for Yakuza. It's kind of how Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon is a different game compared to Far Cry 3, but they are related. This is kind of what the Roblox series is to the Yakuza series, though with Lost Roblox in particular, I was about to say Lost, and that's not even a word, but with Lost Roblox in particular, this game is surprisingly standalone compared to a lot of the other Roblox entries, because compared to Yakuza, the Roblox series is a lot more interconnected with its narratives and storylines, and they get really complicated with it. Maybe a little too complicated, I don't know, Yakuza sometimes isn't interconnected enough. The Roblox series might be too interconnected, kind of like Metal Gear Solid 4 in a sense. But Lost Roblox kind of takes a stride from Yakuza and kind of leans more towards that and tells a bit more of a standalone story. There are some payoffs near the end that I think really work, but for the most part, Lost Roblox does tend to ignore little details from the previous Roblox entries to focus on a new direction. And for the most part, I do think this works pretty well. Though this video is not a story summary, it is a gameplay showcase, a no damage, but I must mention one more story. I'm going to mention a couple more stories throughout the course of this video, but I have to mention a story not from the game, but from real life. I have to shout out Android the Merc and an interesting fellow for their Lost Roblox mod. It is definitely one of the most ambitious mods in the scene, and this video would not be possible without it. I gotta thank them very much from the bottom of my heart. For this fight, I will be taking it a little bit easy, but kind of in the sense of how I take it a little bit easy with all my Roblox videos in the beginning fights, because while they're not the same game, the Yakuza and Roblox versions of those Yakuza games are very similar, and when I no damage these Roblox games, I am returning to that very similar combat system, and it can maybe get a little bit of getting used to after so long, especially with Lost Roblox, which is probably one of the most complicated and in-depth combat systems in the series, especially for being stylish and whatnot. I definitely want to make a video where I'm doing stylish things and I'm not playing it too by the numbers per se, because I guess that's one issue you can maybe say with these Roblox games, is that you don't necessarily need to be stylish to deal the most damage. In fact, the longer your juggle combo goes in these games, the less damage you deal, and that is a balancing measure because with some of the infinite combos which some very skilled players have made, you could destroy, annihilate boss fights if your damage doesn't go down, though sometimes your damage going down is a little bit ridiculous. And here we're about to learn about deadly attacks and mortal reversals, and who better to teach us than Venom? Who else knows more about deadly attacks than the Venom? That is one change this game brought from Lost Judgment. In Lost Judgment, they showed Yagami reacting to it, but Lost Roblox kind of took a creative decision and decided to show Venom, because he just knows more about the topic than Yagami would. Hey, Yagami does wear a black leather jacket, but Venom's outfit is not leather, but it looks kind of similar maybe if you stretch your imagination a little bit. But yeah, I don't really know much more to say about this fight. It is very self-explanatory, the things I'm doing here. I haven't done anything too complex tech-wise. Though I do want to mention something which won't show up until way later in the video, but I did not know that you could jump off walls while carrying a bat or a sword or just certain weapons. You can't exactly jump off a wall if you're carrying a table, but if you're carrying a one-handed weapon, which you can maybe use with two hands, you can run up to a wall and jump off with that weapon. And you can also do a wall attack with that weapon while jumping off of it. I don't know, it's just that I'm so busy not doing that, but it is possible. I don't know, Lost Roblox has so many great little details. Lost Judgment and Lost Roblox by proxy. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm not going to do that move too many times, but it is an incredibly sick move, and I love how it breaks the glass when I jump down on there. Just really cool stuff. But I think these games, like Lost Judgment and Lost Roblox, are the games which have given me full confidence in the Dragon Engine, because I made this little video in the past called the Kiwami Rant, and most of that video is me complaining about Kiwami 2, and a lot of the complaints do come from how the Dragon Engine just does not feel as good to, like, you know, play in as the old engines in terms of combat. And even like Roblox eyes and, you know, just judge eyes didn't give me full confidence in the Dragon Engine. It was a great game, and its combat system is pretty dope, but there was just a couple little like clunky details to it that just didn't sit right with me. But with like Lost Roblox here and Lost Judgment, everything's been ironed out. In fact, not only has everything been ironed out, it's been made better than any of the previous games. Like Lost Judgment and Lost Roblox has the best combat system, bar none, in the entire franchise. Like, I adore this combat system. It just feels so smooth to play. It's so quick and fast and gamey. Just, And it's these thoughts which have inspired me to make a sequel to my Kiwami Rant, because I think, like, by the end of that video, I'm just kind of like, will there ever be a Yakuza game in the Dragon Engine which has combat as satisfying as the old games? And, like, at this point, 100%. Not only is it as satisfying as the old games, it's more satisfying. And I just want to give, you know, I want to make like a sequel to that Kiwami Rant, but on a more positive lens, you know, like I finally have something to kind of gush about and not be negative. And I think that's just a nice perspective to have. Like, when did that video come out? 2019? Like 1, 2, 3, like 4 years since that video's, like, that video's pretty negative. You know, I had some complaints, which not that many people had, which I wanted to share, but now I have some positivity, which I think will be a nice contrast to that video. So that video has not been scripted at all, but I do plan on making it one day. So be on the lookout for that in 6 months or something, I don't know. But now we are fighting the bully, and this guy, while I do really love this game, sometimes it does reuse movesets, but I think it reuses movesets in a more intelligent manner than, say, the Roblox eyes, because Roblox eyes tend to use movesets for very like major characters and very major fights in a way that just kind of left a bad taste in my mouth, while this game kind of goes for a more middle of the road approach, where smaller characters will be reusing movesets. And by reusing movesets, okay, so from my knowledge, I'm pretty sure the bully here is using a moveset from Yakuza 6, and inversely Roblox 6 from the red guy who uses the knife. I forgot his name. I forgot his name. I'm not going to say it here. Just watch my Yakuza 6 and Roblox 6 no damages to be caught up with what that guy's doing. And I just dodged the chair right there. I was not planning on doing that, but I ended up doing that, you know, just by accident. Because this dude does like to kind of throw chairs around, and sometimes even, I'm not 100% sure about this, but I think random enemies might even try to kick furniture at you. So if you have a method, do try to like clear out all the chairs, and one good method is just to use Crane's heavy kick. That's another thing I really love about Lost Roblox and Lost Judgment, is that like each style has its own heavy kick. I don't know, because in Roblox eyes, like, Crane and Tiger had the same heavy kick, and I didn't even really like that heavy kick. It's still in this game. It's Tiger's, like, it's like only Tiger has the heavy kick I'm not a big fan of, but in Roblox eyes, both styles had that heavy kick, and I really didn't like it. It's like a jumping kick where you kind of hit him twice, and I'm not the biggest fan of it. But here, every style has its own kick, and Crane's like heavy kick is super useful. It's just like a low sweep, and it can kind of clear out a lot of obstacles very nicely, and also it can even be used to like dodge attacks, and it's just a very nice, cool kick. I like it a lot. But let's get on to a new thing, because I did no damage Lost Judgment before, and I actually have some new information for this Lost Roblox video. And a lot of that new information came from this advanced tutorial from T-Lover7, X-T-Lover7, if I'm saying his name right. Pretty much like studied the combat of Lost Judgment and came to some new conclusions which have informed a lot of my decisions for this video. The two most important things which are going to happen right now involve Snake's hidden art and the Boxer backwards launcher. So I'm going to try to explain the backwards launcher. So pretty much you parry an enemy, you pretty much run past them, and once you reach a certain distance, without holding the directional stick, you pretty much hold like the targeting, press dodge, and that always makes you dodge back. But once you do that, you let go of like the targeting maneuver, pretty much like R1 on like a PS4 controller, RB, like the right bumper on an Xbox controller. You let go of that like once you've already done a backwards launch, you know, pretty much done like a backwards dodge without using the stick. But then once you let go of the targeting, you use the stick, you aim it in the direction of the enemy, and then you press like the like the O button, you know, like the circle button on PlayStation, the B button on an Xbox controller, and that allows you to do like the launcher. So that's pretty much how that works. So pretty much review that footage and also like review what I just said, and I hope that makes sense. I don't know a better way to explain it. Like pretty much the navigation of how you use the directional stick, and also when you hold the targeting and when you don't hold the targeting is very important for pulling that off. And also the distancing, because if you're too far away, like, you know, it won't hit him, and if you're too close, it may mess it up. It's a little bit complicated. I'm going to link his advanced tutorial in the description, which explains things better. The reason I brought up like Snake's hidden art is because there's a property in it which I didn't know it had, which makes some of these boss fights a lot easier. Pretty much once you parry someone with Snake and you activate the hidden art, enemies cannot parry you back. So whenever an enemy enters a parry state and you have like the Snake hidden art activated, you're not gonna get parried. So that's pretty much another opening for you to destroy the enemy. Mind you, not too useful for Kuwana. I mean, he does have a parry in some of his later fights, and you know, it is useful, but it is most useful for another fight that comes later on. It kind of makes him a lot easier, but super useful. Also, another property about Snake hidden art is that if you activate the Crane hidden art and then, like, you know, do a parry, it extends the time limit of the Crane hidden art. I thought you could only do that with the Tiger hidden art. Pretty much in a juggle combo, every time you land the heavy attack and have the Tiger hidden art, it extends the time duration of the Crane hidden art and the Tiger hidden art. But that's also true of the Snake hidden art every time you parry an enemy. So yeah, just keep that in mind for your videos and like your no damages and just playing the game normally. It's super useful, and it's changed the game. It's phenomenal. It's iconic. You have to know about it. But yeah, no, I was kind of like rushing an explanation of tech, which is important for like launching dudes in a cool way, but there's also a lot of juggling happening in the previous fight and in this fight. And look at that, I just reset like the combo to pretty much juggle him again. Things are going crazy. Things are going insane, and I don't know how to fully explain it. But there is something I do want to like talk more about, and it's the juggle like combo state. No, not like the floating juggle combo state. It's kind of something which happens. It's a bit of a glitch. I'm not sure if it's fully intentional, but it is super useful for like extending your combos like past, you know, him dropping super fast. You know, kind of keeping the gravity very light on enemies. I'm gonna do one on him in like the final section of this video. Maybe I'm doing one now. So pretty much like the floating juggle state is when the enemy kind of starts glitching out. Let's see when it happens with this guy. Hasn't happened yet. Okay, it's happening now. You see how he kind of like flips diagonally, like, you know, he's kind of there, boop, 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 kind of like a seesaw. You know, it's going like. It's because he's in the floating juggle combo state, which allows you to hit him for longer before he hits the ground. And while it is a little bit random, there actually are methods to get more consistent floating combos. I am not doing those methods in these early fights, but there is a more consistent method. It is in the T-Lover video, so definitely check that out if you want some more floating combo ideas. And also it is open to experimentation, what works and what doesn't work. But something you do want to add in is just add in a couple more quick step attacks. I don't really do too many of them in these early fights, but the more quick step attacks you add with certain styles, it does like increase the probability of you doing a floating combo, and also you just being able to combo him for longer. For you, the viewer, I can't exactly gauge how much you know about this game and if what I'm saying is redundant, but if you didn't know, those deadly attacks, you don't have to do a mortal reversal against them. You can actually like tiger drop them with any of these styles' unique you know, tiger drops. And that's another thing, like each style is like given more personality than in Roblox Eyes, where sometimes some of the moves in Crane and Tiger kind of overlap, and also Crane was a little underpowered in Roblox Eyes, while in Lost Roblox, each style has like so much use on its own and also just has so much originality with each of its styles. Like in Roblox Eyes, like Roblox Yagami like ripped off like Roblox Kiryu's Tiger Drop, while here, not only does is like Yagami's version of the Tiger Drop a unique animation, he also gets new Tiger Drops, which have like different variables and like different effects. Like Crane gets one that instantly juggles the enemies. So with some of the deadly attacks, if you don't want to mortal reverse them, you can do a Tiger Drop for your own unique purposes. You know, Boxer builds up heat really nicely. I don't think Snake has a counter, or at least I'm not skilled enough to use the Snake counter yet, but the Crane counter juggles enemies. The Tiger counter sometimes will inflict like a sort of agony state, and the Boxer counter, I mean, just builds up heat very nicely, and it's just very nice, very cool stuff happening. So that is something which I did against Tetsuo in the previous fight, because he was not in the agony state, and I really wanted to do a tiger heat action, which can only be done if an enemy is in the agony state to end the fight. So I pretty much I juggled him when he did that thing, and then I did the snake heavy attack, which if you hold it down, puts him in the agony state. I mean, mind you, in the previous video, I think I confused the agony state with the fear state, and they're actually two different things. I hope I'm not messing it up again, but yeah, no, if you put him in the agony state, you can do the heat action, and, well, I accidentally messed up, and because he hit the ground, and once he hit the ground, I do a ground heat action, but thankfully the Tiger Hidden Art wasn't activated, so I didn't deal too much damage, which left enough health for me to do that, agony Tiger heat action. And also the properties of that heat action, or, what it, wastes of your health bar, of, your heat bar, is different in this game, because in Roblox eyes, you need a full, heat bar thing. If you're, on your if you're on the second most filled bar of your heat bar, you can't do the heat action. While in this game, you can do that heat action whenever, as long as the enemy is in the agony state and as long as you have heat. However, once you do it, it wastes your entire heat bar. So it's a heat action you only really want to do if you only have one gauge of your little heat bar thing. Mind you, saying heat bar is a little bit confusing, but since most other Yakuza and Roblox games go for a bar system with your heat instead of this little circle, I'm just going to call it a heat bar just for consistency purposes. And while this isn't a story summary, I do feel I need to clear something up that's new in this game, or the rest of this video is going to be very confusing as to why everyone is Roblox. Because in Roblox eyes, I forget the exact details, but a lot of the people who become Roblox in Roblox eyes is either through tragic or evil means. And that is not exactly the case here. And the reason for that spoils Roblox 7. So basically, once the Tojo clan has been dissolved, something strange started happening to the common populace in the Roblox realm, where pretty much more and more humans started becoming Roblox for seemingly weird reasons. The disbanding of the Roblox clan kind of destroyed an ancient evil that stopped people from being Roblox. So now more people are free to become Roblox at their leisure, which has allowed the entire Roblox Yagami clan to adopt their most powerful and strong Roblox forms. So if you were wondering about that, that's pretty much the answer this game gives. I think it's a pretty smart direction for kind of wiping the slate clean while still opening a lot of new exciting opportunities, because you don't need to rely on the Tojo clan, and you don't need to exactly rely on some main characters being human beings. They can all become Roblox in this brand new story, without needing to be tied to a grand tragedy like how Yagami's transformation was. Just so that more characters can be Roblox without having to go through an insane backstory like Yagami did. Also, if you're wondering about the black bars on the side of the video, it's because I recorded all my footage on a Steam Deck. And also there was a bit of a, oh my goodness, I got hair, I'm eating hair right now. I did not plan for that. This is the worst part of the commentary by far. Oh no. Okay, I think the hair is gone, but I was eating some habanero chips and they're not very spicy at all, and somehow I have ended up with hair. But to get back to the Steam Deck, pretty much the first half of this video I recorded with just the Steam Deck, which means I'm forced to have a resolution of 12,000 by 800. However, halfway through making this video, I actually invested in buying a Steam Dock, which gives me a lot of new options. And by the way, the theme for this battle in Lost Roblox specifically is I've seen footage, which is foreshadowing the fact that the reason Sawa Sensei died is because she saw footage. Mind you, she doesn't die in this fight, so it's a little weird to put the song at this point in the game. I'm just gonna have to question the developers about that, but it does serve as a bit of nice foreshadowing. I'll talk more about Sawa Sensei's death specifically in Lost Roblox, because there's a lot of new context they add, which I think makes it hit a lot harder in this game. But to get back to this, fight specifically, this fight pissed me the hell off. I got so mad while trying to no damage this fight that I accidentally flipped over my Steam Deck in midair. I slapped my hand against it kinda hard, and it started flipping. And I slapped it so hard, and the flipping was so rambunctious that it actually shut down my Steam Deck. I just turned it off by accident. So I turned it off from the way I slapped my Steam Deck while raging, after failing a no damage attempt in this fight. So I turned my Steam Deck back on, and the game didn't shut down. It was still going, and OBS was still recording my footage. Mind you, that footage which was recorded, that footage which was still being recorded, like, you know, once I turned my Steam Deck back on, is not the footage you're seeing right now, but it was still recording. Like, I don't know, I mean, this has happened before with my, like, laptop when using OBS, and it has now happened with the Steam Deck. Mind you, I've never flipped my laptop over in the same way I could flip my Steam Deck, because my laptop, if I flipped it over, would die, while the Steam Deck, I think, is maybe a little bit more durable in the fact that it is more portable, if that makes any sense. And to talk more about Akutsu here, like, he is a boss fight where if you try to juggle him, most things he'll just power through it in order to do a taunt attack thing instead of being juggled. Because basically when he taunts you, and if you try to attack him while he's like taunting you, he tries to attack you. So he pretty much like activates a sort of like hyper armor of sorts, if that's what you call it, or super armor. I don't know. I tend to use those two phrases like interchangeably a lot of the time. But yeah, no, he'll just activate a state of like super armor to do like a taunt attack or just to do like a normal attack, and it makes him a pain in the ass to fight. He's not impossible to juggle, but I tend to avoid it because he is a pain in the ass to juggle. He's not as consistent as most of the other fights in this game. He just has properties that just makes him a bitch. I hate him. I don't like him. Oh man, but to pretty much get back to the whole taunting thing he does, that taunt attack actually opens up a new opportunity to juggle him. Like, one thing you can do is that, you know, you pretty much do an attack to get him into like a taunting state, then you attack him, and then when he tries to attack you, he's always going to try to do a punching attack, and you can use the crane tiger drop to tiger drop that punching attack, because it's always going to come out the same, so you can like time it and then hit him. Because another thing which Akutsu, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but pretty much like another thing that makes him like hard to juggle, especially with like the tiger drop, is that he's also inconsistent with some of his attacks. Because, you know, a lot of the time he'll do like a punching or kick attack, but sometimes he'll do this incredibly fast like grab attack, which makes it like not viable to try to juggle him with like a tiger drop. But if you abuse like his taunting state attack, which will always come out as a punch, then you can just take advantage of that instead of, you know, rolling the dice on whether he's going to do a punching or a... Instead of rolling the dice on whether he's going to punch you or grab you. And I had this previous plan where I would use like Crane's like, you know, heavy kick attack in order to activate his attack, but that's not consistent. You know, sometimes I'll do it and he won't do anything, because one thing you can do is that if he goes into his taunting state and you do like the crane heavy kick, then like that heavy kick will like happen so fast that like by the time he's about to hit you, you can do the crane tiger drop without having to like switch styles or anything. And it would come out pretty cool. I never do it in this video because it's very situational and not consistent, but it is a cool way to deal with him. So if anyone is inspired to try that out, you know, be my guest. But the Akutsu fights man, I don't fuck with him. That's just the plain and simple way to put it. Also, for that first fight, I did not have the Tiger Hidden Art upgrade, like, you know, I just didn't have it because the way the save files I had were, like, organized, it was just kind of impossible to upgrade the Tiger's Hidden Arts, because all the save files I have, by default, do not have that upgraded, but the save file pretty much starts at the beginning of this chapter, and the beginning of this chapter immediately starts with that first fight, so there's, like, no chance to pretty much go back and upgrade the Tiger Hidden Art, and I didn't feel like redoing most of the game, so I just decided to roll with it for that first fight. Though for the second fight, I do have the Tiger Hidden Art activated to deal more damage. Wait, by the way, I will be doing this with attack level 0 and with equipment that pretty much gives me like 45% less attack. And the only time I take off that equipment is for a fight later on in the video, but for most of this video, I will have no attack upgrades and that equipment, which restricts my attack even more. Also, another thing I wanted to mention is that editing music for these first two fights is terrible because the rain is so loud. Pretty much like the way I edit music for these Roblox videos is that on PC there's usually a setting that turns off the music. So you can just put that slider all the way down and then the music doesn't play in the fight, so I can put my music in there and while still keeping all the battle sound effects. But pretty much, if you do that in this fight specifically, the rain is so loud that it just kind of makes the mix sound kind of muddy. Like, if you have headphones and you're watching this video and you're watching these first two fights, I recommend you stop having such specific ears, because like these first two fights with Akutsu may be my messiest mixes of them all. Thankfully, the next Akutsu fight is not only my favorite, it also doesn't have rain in it, so like the mix is gonna sound a whole lot better. Because I don't know, just the rain just kind of ruins it a little bit. Here I can just put the music, there's no rain. And also one thing I really like is that the chainsaw phase is definitely easier than the beginning phase. So what I do here is I go in for like a quick step attack, and that already activates Tiger Hidden Arts. And now I'm trying to make him attack with chainsaw because the snake style actually has a heat action specifically made to parry the chainsaw. I never knew this. I don't know, like, I mean, honestly, all Yakuza games kind of have details like this, especially something like Yakuza 5 or Roblox 5. But Lost Judgment is one of those super detailed Yakuza games that like always has just little stuff hiding around the corners, stuff that you're not gonna notice on like a first or second playthrough. Just really love stuff like this. Just oh my goodness, that's such a cool heat action because I don't think any other enemy in the game has a chainsaw. It's like a heat action just specifically for this fight. Because I mean, I don't know, if there is another enemy in this game or another fight where someone has a chainsaw, let me know because I'm pretty sure this is the only one. So that's a unique heat action for that. So yeah, I really love that stuff. And to get back to the Steam Dock, what it does is you can actually record your games and also just play your games at higher resolutions. Using the dock, you can actually like upscale things to 1080p. You're not stuck at 12,000 by 800. However, the issue with that is that pretty much, I think one of my favorite things about the Steam Deck is that I can like natively record my games on the go using OBS because the Steam Deck has its own OBS system. Though, to be fair, I'm not being 100% honest because I did modify my Steam Deck to become a Windows deck just so that Roblox can run on it because Lost Roblox may or may not be impossible to run on Linux, and sadly that is actually the base default like software or hardware, I don't know exactly what term specifically to use, for the Steam Deck. However, the Steam Deck is so like customizable that you can delete Linux and install Windows, and that's how I'm recording Roblox with OBS on Windows. This isn't technically possible with the original Linux version of the Steam Deck to my knowledge. If someone can prove me wrong, please make a video about it because there's like no tutorials on how to like install like Roblox mods on Linux on the Steam Deck. Like nobody is doing that. So, you know, please like, you know, make videos, you know, like expand the community perhaps. And, you know, I would really appreciate that. I think there will also be a lot of people who are just not that familiar with like video game tech that would really appreciate that as well. Like, please, someone make that video. It's not gonna be me. But you know, like the one downside of the Steam Dock is that if you want to record your videos at 1080p, you have to use the dock. So, you know, like you're not gonna have the easeability of portability to record your videos because when you're portable, you're stuck at 1280 by 800. So, you know, like your footage is going to be jumping around from 1080p to 720p because you're not going to be able to do 1080p on the go. You're only going to be able to do it when you're like near a TV and using the dock. And sometimes like this game likes to do a thing where like it does that heat action, even though like I never saw the animation of my character jumping over this boss fight. It is cool though. I really like that. It adds some nice variety to the fight, you know, just like I really do not do that heat action where like I leapfrog over the enemy that much. And while I'm here, I might as well talk about some tech from that T-Lover video game because it's going to become very important in the next fight, not so much in this one, but I need to talk about the instant running tech and the leapfrog swag tech. He didn't call it the swag tech, I just added that in there for funsies. But basically, the instant running tech is very important for the leapfrog tech for juggles and whatnot. So what the instant running tech is that you can do this with any style. Pretty much like you hold the targeting button and then you dodge forward, but then you let go of the targeting during the dodge and you hold the dodge down. That makes you instantly run once your dodge animation is done. The quickest styles to do this is like, I think, Tiger and Boxer. So pretty much this allows you to do some pretty crazy stuff. In fact, I'm about to do that crazy thing in this fight, I believe. And yes, Doma, this is an incredibly sick fight. Like, this dynamic intro is incredibly, like, it's just awesome. And I just don't know what else to say before we get to the thing I want to talk about. So, the leapfrog thing is kind of expanding on the Boxer backwards like launcher, but it's like a more advanced version of it, and that's also just more convenient and honestly a little easier to do. So here, I'm going to go for the parry, you know, the same thing I did with the backwards launch. But I'm going to dodge forward, I'm going to pretty much leapfrog over him, and then I'm going to do the Boxer backwards launcher when I'm over the enemy. So that's just like a more cool way to do that thing. And there is some specifics with how you do the targeting and how you hold the stick while jumping over the enemy. If you're wondering why I style switch so much when I jump over the enemy, it's because it just makes it easier to do, but you don't necessarily have to do it. But to not have to do it, you have to be very particular with the way you move your stick and, you know, just the whole thing. And here I'm doing this fight on low health because I want to do this heat action. And also, when you're on low red health, your heat bar just starts building naturally when you're not using heat. While if you had full health, you know, you'd have to recover it through like manual means per se. But yeah, no, this is a fight where the snake hidden art becomes super useful because Soma has this thing where he does like a really long parry action, and he can do this parry while you're juggling him in the air, so it tends to cut off a lot of your juggles because he'll just randomly parry you out of nowhere. I think he does this more in his final fight, but in this fight it may or may not still be capable of happening. So here I did the instant running tech in order to run fast enough to jump over him after doing like the tiger mortal reversal. So while you don't need to do mortal reversals, some mortal reversals still have use, and you can do some pretty stylish stuff with them. Because another thing about this game is that jumping over boss fights is a lot harder in this game, just because like they tend to knock you off of their back a lot more often than they did in Roblox eyes, to my knowledge. But when you do that like mortal reversal and then you do the instant running tech to jump over them, then you're able to do a lot of funky stuff that you're not really normally allowed to do at any other point of the game. And here I'm doing this one combo that's going to completely annihilate Soma. And one thing I really love about Soma that makes him a little easy is that, okay, so like Kuwana and Tesso, whenever they're on the ground, sometimes they'll do a get-up attack. And their get-up attacks tend to be pretty quick, but Soma's is so telegraphed that you can pretty much prepare for it or just land another attack while he's doing it. So it definitely helps with just keeping things going. And here I'm just going to end this fight off with a knife disarm heat action, one of the coolest heat actions in this game. Just like Snake gets so many awesome heat actions. And once again, I keep mentioning like how much uniqueness Lost Roblox brings to that previous like Roblox Eyes. And the heat actions is definitely part of that, you know, like, because in Roblox Eyes, like Yagami copied some of Akiyama's heat actions, and some of them have just been replaced with brand new ones. Like the stomp heat action looks insane. I'm actually going to do it in this fight and also in the final fight of this video. But yeah, things get, oh man. Shame about Tesso kind of getting a bit of a throwaway fight here. I mean, you know, it's like, hey, we fought Tesso alone before, you know, how do we make him harder? Give him more health and also more enemies, but like the vibe is all wrong, you know, so this is just like a random street, you know, like there's no dynamic intro, especially since like Tesso gets like the sickest dynamic intro in the entire game, you know, he gets an area where it's like raining and, you know, the rain looks beautiful, especially in like the Dragon Engine. Like if there's one thing I can never fault the Dragon Engine for is looking beautiful, even in like its early inceptions or more clunky era of like combat, it does still look beautiful, and like the PC ports definitely made it like hold up a lot more. So yeah, no, just like really great dynamic intro in that first fight. But then here, you know, bit of a drawback, you know, just a random street. This basically feels like a random encounter at points, but Tetsuo is along for the ride. This kind of feels like I modded Tetsuo to be able to run around the city just so I can fight him whenever I want. And hey, there are mods that let you do that. There's like mods for this game that allow you to just fight random boss fights in the city whenever you feel like it, so you don't have to like return to a previous save file. However, okay, what I'm referring to is that most Yakuza games don't really tend to have a mode where you can like fight the boss fights by themselves. I mean, some do, but like it's a bit weird, you know, because most Yakuza games have the climax battles, but then they kind of got rid of that for some Yakuza games. Yakuza 6 didn't have any climax battles or whatnot, so you're just kind of left alone, you know, like, yeah, I can't play this boss fight again, it's basically impossible. However, Lost Judgment introduces something pretty nice. It reintroduces the climax battles through the gauntlet. Anyways, here I'm about to do that heat action I was referring to. Like here I'm kind of doing a combo, I kind of entered the juggle state, I kind of ended it a bit early, but yeah, that heat action, that is so much cooler than like the Akiyama one, which like Yagami used to have in the original game, in like Roblox Eyes. But yeah, no, the gauntlet is a really great addition, you know, because, you know, though mind you, it's not perfect though, because I kind of wish there was a mode where I could fight the boss fights normally with like the upgrades I want to specify with, because I don't want to fight them with like all my upgrades, but the gauntlet does have this neat thing where you get to fight the boss fights with like unique conditions. You know, you get to fight like Kosuke if, like, yeah, Kosuke if he actually had his full haki, so it makes that fight a lot harder. So, you know, it's a really nice mode, and also has a couple fun, unique challenges with like the stealth. Even though the stealth sucks in this game, it is kind of neat that they made like a cute little mini game for it in that gauntlet. So, you know, I hope future Yakuza games have more of that sort of stuff and not less, because I think like with Yakuza 6 and so on, they tried to like cut back on content like that, and they were all the worse for it. This video took about 2 months to make. Well, not this video specifically. I mean, this commentary version pretty much took like a day to make because I mean, it's about an hour and 25 minutes, though I don't exactly do all this commentary in one go. Maybe one day I'll do it. I don't know. In some of my older videos, I kind of did it more in that style, but well, for these Roblox videos specifically, I kind of have to talk the entire time because some of this music is copyright claimed. But I found a way to beat the system so that my commentary versions don't get copyright claimed. Basically, I make my commentary so loud that it like covers up the music so I don't get copyright claimed because my commentary is my own voice, so they can't kill me for that. So I just make the game audio like so quiet that like it's not an issue. But I don't know, there's like, yeah, no damaging this game took about 2 months, and it was like a mix of a bunch of things. Like I was still kind of dealing with like the last aspects of my academic career in college, but now that's all over. I mean, I'm pretty much done with college. I have a degree, I have a bachelor. I'm going to be on the edge of my seat at a job, for like a real direct job, something which I'm planning on doing. It could be a whole mix of things, but well, that's for later. You'll get updates on that. Like, college kind of interrupted my no damage runs before, and now new things will interrupt it. But I really hope I don't have to take 2 months to make a single video. And also just that Lost Judgment is hard. It is a difficult game to like do no damages for, especially when you're trying to be stylish, because what would happen is I would spend like 4 or 5 hours trying to no damage a single fight, and then I no damage the fight, I look at the footage and it's not good enough. It's like sloppy, it's like bad, it's just like it's off. So I have to like redo it, but like getting a bad attempt took me like 4 to 5 hours. Like, oh my goodness, like sometimes you have to like spend 2 to 3 hours like trying to fight a fight you have no idea how to fight, just to get used to like fighting that fight, or just finding the rhythm you want to tackle with it. Like, you know, what moves you want to do in the beginning instead of like haphazardly like slapping around. Though this haphazardness did lead to this funny little ending where Tesso gets knocked to the street. I really like that detail. I kept that fight because of that ending. Like, I needed that. I am very happy with this fight though, because in my original Lost Judgment video, I didn't really juggle him all that much, but this time I decided to kind of take advantage of some of my more unorthodox launchers. And oh yeah, that is something I wanted to mention before, which I don't think I mentioned before. So here I did a little snake parry, and instead I launched him with the crane taunt. Now, there's multiple different types of taunts in this game, and some of them are very contextual. Like, I know you have the taunt where you're locked onto the enemy, and well, that's one taunt. And then you have another taunt where you're not locked onto the enemy, and that's a different taunt. And then there's like a secret third taunt that only happens if the enemy is on the ground and you taunt them. And I'm not sure if you have to target the enemy or not target the enemy for that one. So basically, I'm not really sure if there's 3 or 4 taunts, because throughout this video, I believe I do 3 style of taunts, but not with every style, mind you, because there's like some styles which I just didn't do their style of taunt. For one, the taunt you do with Boxer, where you're not targeting the enemy, gives you like a ton of heat. I'm pretty sure like a lot more than the other taunts. However, with launchers, we have the crane like taunt, where if you're not locked onto the enemy and you do the crane taunt, you can launch them into the air. However, the only issue is that you can't really cancel out of that taunt unless you're in heat mode. Now, one improvement, and look at this heat action. I love this heat action. It's incredible. Like in my previous no damage, I ended the fight with this heat action, but that previous no damage I don't think had enough action. It just was not like speedy enough, so this one has like a lot more frantic, and I am like more proud of it. But I still included that heat action because it's like an incredible heat action, so well choreographed. But yeah, no, a big improvement that Lost Roblox does over Roblox Eyes is that in Roblox Eyes, you couldn't really cancel out of like that many attacks that quickly, which meant juggling was kind of impossible. While here, being able to cancel out of attacks without being in heat is like a lot faster. You can't really cancel out of everything, but you can cancel out of most things very, very quickly. However, there's still like a few rare things which you can only really cancel out of quickly in heat, and that is, one of those things is that taunt with crane. So pretty much the only time you can really juggle with that crane taunt is by being in heat, and it is something which I do like to do. So, you know, the snake parry opens up many avenues for being able to taunt in a really cool way. So here I'm just trying to build up some heat to do the final heat action, which I really want to do. And this final heat action I didn't really do in my previous Lost Judgment video, so it's very nice to bring it in here. Because with a lot of these Roblox videos, I like to do something new. You know, I like to have better gameplay. I like to maybe do some heat actions, which I just didn't do previously because they were like a little obscure. And look at that, this is insane. He just starts beating his ass, and I think this is a very nice way to kind of end the fight. It's not the last time I end the fight with this heat action, beating their ass to a pulp. And yeah, we're right there to the lost Roblox boat. And there was this meme I wanted to upload where Yagami and like Kuwana go through like a bunch of boat glitches, because while trying to no damage the boat fight, that comes later, I actually ran into a surprising amount of glitches, like enough to fill like a 2 to 3 minute video by itself. I don't know. Whew. I guess I kind of wanted to bring up the different styles of launchers, because the most basic like launcher is pretty much like crane, square, triangle, 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 and it is one which I try to avoid, though I'm not 100% above it, but it is the most basic launcher. So varying up your gameplay with like other types of launchers is useful, and honestly those other types of launchers are more consistent than the crane, triangle, triangle, triangle. But another one that's kind of basic but is still very useful is with Boxer. You like quick step into someone and then triangle circle. That works pretty well. So this fight has some very pain in the ass enemies. So there's like the crowd I like first begin to attack. There's a guy with a little like flamethrower thing. He is a pain in the ass. Watch out for him. And then there's 2 enemies with guns. And guns in this game like instantly kill you with 1 shot, and also I'm trying to no damage, so just be careful with those guns. So you have like one enemy with a flamethrower who has like weird super armor properties, and also he just has a flame projectile, so watch out for that. And then there's 2 enemies with guns. So oh yeah, the gun heat action you can do with Snake is incredible. I really love it. Very well choreographed. But yeah, no, you have to kill him, and then there's a second guy you also have to kill. And yeah, the skateboard heat action is one I never did in my Lost Judgment video either, but I am doing it here because it's very sick, and honestly it was kind of hard to get used to it, but after a couple attempts of trying it in encounters, I was able to do it. So here I was actually trying to do a heat action where I took out multiple enemies, but instead I just did this wall smash heat action, which still looks sick and fits the video like super well. Also, if you haven't noticed, the buttons on like the bottom right corner of the screen have changed, because in the beginning of the video they were like Xbox prompts, but now they're PlayStation prompts. Now, how is that happening? In fact, not only are they PlayStation prompts, if you look closely at the colors, you'll realize they have no colors because they're actually PlayStation 5 prompts. See, that's something which I don't really fuck with the PS5. I don't know, because like the PS4, like each like button had different colors, but the PS5 controllers, they made all the buttons have the same colors, and it's just, I don't like it, because you know, the X used to be like blue, the circle used to be red, the triangle used to be like green, and the square used to be pink, right? Yeah, that's how it goes. And now they're all the same color, and it's just like, I don't know, the colors like help differentiate them more, you know, because it's not just that they are different shapes, they're also different colors, you know. We're tackling like different demographics, which is the way they're designed, but now that color aspect is completely gone. You can only differentiate them through the shapes. Like, I don't know, why did they make that decision? They're just like changing things to change things, or to like appeal to like some new minimalist aesthetic, and I kind of hate it. Because now it's even in the prompts themselves, you know, like when we're having like QTEs, which like only flash for like half a second, I think the extra color helps like slightly in a subliminal sense, but now that's gone. It's all gone. Anyways, we're about to do a combo here that never ends, and we'll kill this guy very good and very quickly. Oh man, I was going to talk about something completely different. Oh yeah, but the reason the prompt is different now is because for like the first half of this video or so, or whenever you see Xbox prompts, it's because I recorded it while playing with like the Steam Deck gamepad, right? Just playing with the console itself. But whenever you see PlayStation prompts, it's because I hooked up the thing to my TV using the Steam dock, and I plugged in a PS5 controller. However, with my Windows setup on my Steam Deck, you know, my Windows deck, I have not been able to get the Bluetooth right, so all the controllers I use are just wired in through like the Steam dock. But yeah, that's why you see PS5 prompts. And yeah, I do prefer playing this with the PS5 controller. It kind of just feels faster to play. And here we're about to do the old backwards launcher. I jump over him with Snake just so that I only have to style switch once with Boxer. Mind you, don't exactly have to style switch, but I do it just for convenience purposes. And here I messed up a combo, but I'm going to do the combo right eventually. But here I'm going to juggle him like that, and that doesn't tend to happen. Like, oh, this fight can get really frantic. Like right now, I'm doing that in order to confirm a block, and once he blocks, I'm going to do this taunt. And here I'm going to mess up this combo, but I'm going to use this action in order to do this taunt, and he almost gets me. He tries to go for a grab, but the taunt juggles him before that happens. And here I'm going to do this little like floating combo. Boom, back step, like a quick attack, and that should confirm a juggle most times with this fight. And things are going to get really hectic here. I get a little sloppy here, like I should have done something extra after this combo, but instead I try to dodge into him and I kind of miss my heat action cue. But we roll with it, you know, this is a very intense fight, you know, we're both like dealing with each other. He's trying to back off from me, and there he's entering his parry state, and I'm just going to wait for that to end. But yeah, no, another important thing to mention is that, you know, besides these prompts being different, I think the more important thing to like ask ourselves is, why doesn't this game have an option to turn them off? Like, I know how to play the game. I don't need these buttons in the corner of the screen. Like, you know, they're a nice addition for those who need it, but like, for them to be forced at every moment of the game you're in combat, I think that's dumb. Because I'm already used to it. Like, I mean, I've been playing these games for years. Like, I know what I'm doing. I don't need these buttons in the corner of the screen. Like, please do something else. So yeah, another reason why I'm at low health in this fight is for that heat action. That's a heat action that you can only do when you're at low health, with Boxer, with heat mode activated, and when the enemy's trying to attack you. So you can kind of cancel his mortal reversal with a heat action. So yeah, no. No, not mortal reversal, his deadly attack with a heat action. There's just a lot of ways to deal with the deadly attacks. I think it's a really nice introduction. It's a really nice thing to introduce in this game. I mean, Roblox Eyes also had them, but the only way to deal with them in Roblox Eyes, was to dodge them or to tiger drop them, while here you just have a lot more options. And some of them like very contextual with the game and whatnot. And there I tried to do a little combo and I ended it off with a heat action. Here, boom, I do that, I confirm in order to get a taunt, and then I messed that up, and there. Here I'm trying to do another confirm, but by the time I land this attack, I run out of heat, so I kind of back off. So, and here the fight is almost over. And here I'm about to do one of the sick things you can do with Tiger's mortal reversal. Is pretty much jump over the enemy, and since he's kind of weakened from the mortal reversal, you can do that move. That is not something you can do like that often in this game on the highest difficulty, but here you can. And here we're going to end that heat. You remember that heat action I was talking about before? Here it is. We're ending the fight with that exact heat action. And Kuwana 2 is down. And something specific about Kuwana 2 that I should mention is that it's the only Kuwana fight where he does not have a get-up attack. What that means is when you're juggling him and he hits the ground, most times he'll retaliate with like a really quick sweep attack, and it catches you off guard a lot. You know, it kind of ruins your juggles. You kind of have to plan for it. You know, you have to be like, you know, aware of it. And he does it in his first and final fight, but he never does it in his second fight. I don't know why they coded him like that, but I'm very appreciative of it. It does make his fight easier, you know, even though they did make him a little harder with more health and a couple more moves in his second fight. At least he doesn't have that sweep attack, so that's one thing you don't have to worry about when no damaging him in that second fight. But it is something you have to be aware of in his first and third fight. I'm very glad that song does not copyright claim this video, because I can actually have a moment where I get to show off a little dynamic intro, while with a lot of the other moments I just can't, because if I stop talking, the video gets copyright claimed. And usually with these like no damage commentary videos, I have a sort of outline of things I want to talk about, but with like the Roblox videos, that outline tends to be very small, because I've already talked about most of the stuff I wanted to talk about in my previous Lost Judgment video. Like, that outline was massive, but since I'm just returning to the game, I don't really have that much of an outline to speak of. However, there is something which is not on the outline which I wanted to bring up, and it's that this game kind of like Lost Roblox here, kind of arbitrarily changed the health bars from Roblox Eyes. Like, they have pretty much like almost the same UI and stuff, but for some reason the health bar colors are different in this game compared to Roblox Eyes, and I don't really know why they did that, because Roblox Eyes had a really nice way to kind of, I think, return to form for like the health bars, and this game just kind of messes with it for not really any good or discernible reason, because like, I don't know, like, the health bars in something like, say, Yakuza 3, 4, 5, to my knowledge, you know, you had orange. That's the first health bar for the boss fight. The second health bar is yellow. The third health bar is green. The fourth health bar is blue. And that's exactly how it was in Roblox Eyes. But then you get to this game, and it's like, the first health bar is orange, right? The second health bar is yellow. The third is purple. Okay. And then the fourth is blue. Okay, but why is the third one purple? Because after this blue one, like, the fifth one is... Okay, I actually forgot myself, but I'm pretty sure it's purple again. It just kind of gets a little confusing. Now, to be fair, Yakuza has never really had a consistent health bar, like, setup. You have the first Yakuza game where, like, none of the health bars went beyond, like, number 2. Wait, except for Ramon, I think. Hold up, let me double check that. Yeah, basically there was only 2 health bars in the first Yakuza, and the second one's blue, the first one's yellow. And then in the second Yakuza, Like, you know, I mean, you had a couple more health bars, and it pretty much went like yellow, blue, green. I don't know what came after green, like beyond that, but, you know, kind of a setup there. And Kenzin exists, but I'm going to ignore it because I forgot, and I think Yakuza 3 kind of copies the same system, maybe, but yeah, Yakuza 3, you kind of got like orange, yellow, green, and then after green there's light blue, but that barely shows up because the final boss of the game only gets to green. Amon gets to some of the higher colors. But there kind of comes a point where even with this like more standardized like color setup, which like I guess Yakuza 3, 4, 5, I think also Dead Souls embodies, is that there comes a point where they just start repeating colors nonsensically. You know, you have like the first couple colors, which there is a rhyme and reason to, you know, like first one orange, second one yellow, third one green, fourth one light blue, you know, fifth one like purple or something like that. But then they kind of get to a point where it's like the 10th one is gray, the 9th one is purple, the 8th one is light green, the 7th one is gray again, you know, like, so like multiple Yakuza games kind of have this same nonsense, which this now Lost Judgment is suffering from. And also I'm pretty sure that Roblox Eyes also kind of suffered from that nonsense. The most egregious example of that nonsense, though, was like in Kiwami 2. Because, like, yeah, there was different colors for the first couple health bars, but then, like, 6 to 12, like, you know, like, the health bars number 6 through 12 were all gray, you know? Like, it's not just that there were, like, nonsensical pairings of colors, it's that they were literally all gray. So it was just, like, a gray menagerie. Okay, I don't even know if menagerie is the right word. I don't even know what the fuck that word means, but it was a gray fucking mess for like health bar 6 to 12. You get to like the final boss of Kiwami 2, and like the health for like 70% of that fight is just fucking gray. You get to Joe Amon, and most of the health in that fight is fucking gray. It doesn't feel like you're doing shit to him for most of it. It's like, oh my god, whose fucking graphic design passion like made that decision? Like, I've just... So yeah, no, like, when it comes to like health bars, Yakuza's been pretty inconsistent, but like, oh my goodness, the gray years with like Kiwami 2, I hated that. Though mind you, I also was not a big fan of the Yakuza 6 system, where it's just like a single health bar. I mean, with Yakuza, I want my multiple health bars, you know, my multiple colored health bars. I like that a lot. Roblox Eyes brought it back, very big fan of that, and they made it better than the Kiwami 2 system. But there's never been like a good rule for these colors. Like, you know, they repeat colors every now and then, or they just use like a slightly darker or lighter shade of one color for some like health levels, and it just gets a little complicated. Oh man, that's probably one of the things which made me the most mad with Ishin. Okay, so like I mentioned before that I wanted to make a sequel to my Kiwami rant that's more positive, kind of highlighting the good things about you know, Lost Judgment. But wow, Ishin Kiwami, I mean, mind you, I did a whole walkthrough of that game. You could probably get my complaints there, and also my non-complaints there, but that is a game I want to complain about. There's just so many like changes that just do not strike me right at all in that one. But I guess I'll save that for another video. I'm just not motivated to no damage that Ishin Kiwami either, but that has more to do with the Steam Deck, just because like it runs like shit on it. It runs like shit. Like when I'm recording Ishin no damages, it runs like shit. It runs like shit on my Steam Deck. It runs like shit on my laptop. I don't know how to fix it. The footage looks bad. It's gonna be a video with like really like the worst footage since like my original Kiwami 2 no damage. And yeah, like, if you've seen my original Kiwami 2 no damage, that looked like a piece of shit. And the strategies were also kind of bad, which is why I even started the Roblox series in the first place, because my original Kiwami 2 video wasn't very good, so I wanted to redo it, but I didn't want to just normally redo it, so I added the Roblox, I added new music, and now we have a new series of no damages with a whole different perspective. Let's call this the rebirth no damages, because it's reborning. I don't know where the fuck I was going with that. Oh my goodness. So I mentioned that the Roblox transformation this game have kind of gotten rid of the tragic aspect from like the Roblox Eyes, but that's not necessarily true. Like, you know, not everyone gets like a tragic backstory, but the tragedy of the transformation still shows up every now and then, and Sawa Sensei's death is a prime example of this. And it also ties back to the recharacterization of Soma in like Lost Roblox specifically, because he was super evil in the other game. But in this game, he's been made a secret member of the KKK, and he serves a secret individual who is known as the most racist man alive. And in his quest for racism, he kills Sawa Sensei. And when you find her corpse later in Lost Roblox, her corpse has been Robloxified because Soma has removed her humanity. And in that moment in time, Yagami is about to let out his Yagami scream, but something very specific happens in Lost Roblox where he doesn't want to at first, because if he lets out his Yagami scream, he alerts enemies nearby in the area. But he still does it regardless. And I know that some enlightened individuals are waiting for me to join Yagami in his display of rage, but I don't know if I got it in me anymore. I don't know. It's been so long since, Lost Judgment. I've gone through some trials. I don't know if I got that rage in me anymore, but hey, I could try it. I could go for it again. I don't know if that's very similar to the one I did before, but it's always good to try. But yes, in Lost Roblox, Yagami does decide to do the Yagami scream, let out all his rage, and he alerts all the enemies in the area, which leads to a unique long battle in Lost Roblox specifically. In fact, it's probably the best long battle, because one of my only issues with Lost Roblox and Lost Judgment is just that the long battles just aren't very good. I don't know, it's just very awkward, and they don't have a good flow to them. Because I'm assuming, this is just my assumption, is that they're kind of using a similar engine setup to what Yakuza 7 was doing, because Yakuza 7 was turn-based, so every time you enter a battle, there's a big transition, and every time you exit a battle, there's a big transition, because it's just one turn-based battle. Well, but now they're doing the same thing here, where every time you enter a battle, it's a big transition. Every time you exit a battle, it's a big transition. But the way they structure long battles in this game is just the pacing's fucked. Because, a long battle will consist of 4 to 6 encounters, but you enter and exit each encounter pretty slowly compared to the very smooth transition between encounters in most previous long battles. You defeat a couple people, then you actually get to run up to the next area without interruption. But every time you end the battle, there's a whole transition, and then you go back to open world navigation. I don't like it much. Anyways, here's the boat fight, and I want it to be very intense in this boat fight. Just completely annihilate everyone on this boat. It was not easy, and also the first no damage I did with it wasn't cool enough, so I had to do it again, and it took me a while, but I did do it, and honestly, I had a decent amount of fun here, and I also just recorded a lot of glitches. Actually, I'm not sure if fun's the right word. I did suffer at least a decent amount here. And hey, remember that one time I mentioned that I was surprised you could jump off a wall and also hold a weapon at the same time? This is actually the fight where I display that happening. But one of the coolest things you can do in this fight is just knock enemies against each other. I don't know, I probably did it a few times before. But yeah, here we go. I'm going to go for no, actually I'm going to kill this enemy or just knock him off very good. I'm going to run towards... No, I'm wrong about all that, actually. I'm going to do a juggle combo on this boss fight, and then I'm going to run back over there somehow, and then get a big hammer to slam him with. I'm going to jump off one of the walls in this area and slam the dude with the big hammer. And there I wanted to do a juggle combo, but there was an enemy behind me with a bat. And here, this is how I get to the hammer. Boom, I kill this enemy, and then I jump off the wall, boom, right into the boss fight. That was so convenient. So yeah, no, I realized I had the revelation about being able to jump off a wall with the weapon before this hammer moment, but this hammer moment is probably the best example of what I was talking about, even though I had this discovery before I even attempted to no damage this fight in particular. Yes, but I do not know what will become of this YouTube account from here on out, because I think my current format isn't really the best. I don't know, I've been trying to upload small memes every day to keep engagement going, but since the memes are very small and kind of insubstantial, I don't think it's been doing the best job. I think a couple daily streams, I say a couple daily streams to imply that I'm not going to do it daily, which kind of defeats the purpose of daily. But yeah, no, a couple daily streams I think should maybe be a better format, stream a game here and there. I'll tell you, listen, when I learn how to record a stream where I can record myself streaming, attempting to no damage a game, while also being able to simultaneously record a no damage without commentary, once I learn how to do that, the entire pace of this channel will change. I'll tell you that, but I have zero clue how to do that. I don't even think I worded it right. Pretty much What I want is like, I don't know, it's like if I'm streaming myself trying to no damage a boss fight and then I end up like no damaging that boss fight during the stream, I do not want it that the only footage available is me talking over that fight. I want the raw footage available, but I can't get the raw footage if I'm also streaming, right? Because I'll be talking during it. I do not know how to do a dual setup. So if there are any good tutorials for that, please let me know in the comments, because it would help a ton, and I'd probably be uploading a lot more, because I spent like 2 months with this game. I probably would have gotten a lot more footage of me just no damaging. Now, to be fair, that probably would have been very boring, because like sometimes I take like 8 hours with certain fights, like oh my goodness. But the reason this fight is honestly such a pain in the ass isn't really all the enemies. It's just that when this guy enters the gun phase, it is awful. I hate it so much, but I'm gonna end it in the coolest way possible. Like, I don't know, is that this moveset of gun is terrible in the Dragon Engine. Frankly, it's still terrible here, but they did give us at least one concession. They gave him a really slow, like one of his moves is really slow and reactable. Like the rest of his moves is still suck ass and are dog shit, but he got one move that's kind of reactable and makes him a bit easier, but this fight still kind of sucks in the Dragon Engine, no lie. I think now is probably a good time to mention that I actually haven't seen T-Lover's like full tutorial, like in full. I've only seen like over half of it because, well, the whole video is 1 hour and 47 minutes, so there's actually half of the video I haven't seen yet as of the recording of this commentary. I mean, what I did see did change my life, you know, like the really important tech stuff, but there's like some stuff I just don't know about yet, so just crazy stuff going on. And also, you gotta check out like T-Lover's other no damages. Like T-Lover probably has the best Lost Judgment no damages since like Pious Lee. He is cracked at the game, like cracked. Like I'm telling you, the no damage scene is changing like every day, every second, every week. Like the Yakuza community keeps growing. Like things are going to be out of this world. Like you mean previous games are getting new tech on like the daily. Oh my goodness, even I can't keep track of it. Like I gotta migrate to other games like while the scene is still developing. Because I mean, I already did all my videos, but like a lot of my Yakuza and even at this point, maybe even Roblox videos are a little outdated in terms of tech. Because like people just keep discovering new things. My goodness. Oh yeah, by the way, I probably have to warn you all that for this fight specifically, this is something I mentioned before in my previous commentary ranting in this specific video. That okay, here we go. I got rid of the equipment that makes your attack lower for this fight specifically against Mr. Kuze Pipe Man because I hate him. Like this is a moveset that's a pain in the ass to deal with in the Dragon Engine still. I mean, like not as bad as in the previous games, but still this guy's attacks come out so quickly, like it's such a pain. Oh my goodness. Also, another thing is that in this Pipe Kuze fight, it has a really long dynamic intro, which I decided to show off without commentary, but every time you retry the fight, it plays a shorter version of that intro. However, when my Steam Deck was close to running out of battery, a pop-up forced my game into Windows mode, so that kicked me out of my no damage. When I retried the fight when I fixed my stuff, the full dynamic intro played. And I assumed that the reason was because my game changed resolutions when it switched to Windows because, well, I was playing with the Steam Deck dock, and I actually did not know that you can like transmit, you know, you can like play it on your TV without needing to charge the dock. You can just, you know, plug in the HDMI, and it will connect to a TV. It just won't charge your Steam Deck. So, you know, you don't necessarily need to plug it into a power source if your Steam Deck has power. But, you know, if you want to keep charging it, then you should plug in your charger into that dock. But you don't necessarily need it in order for it to work and be projected onto a TV. Well, projected is not the right word. It's not a projector, but you get what I mean. But yeah, no. The same thing happened later without crashing to Windows or without any resolution change. So just every now and then, if you keep like losing at this fight and you keep retrying it, that shorter version of the dynamic intro will just not play, and they'll just play the whole thing every now and then. So, you know, just be on the lookout for that. Or maybe there's a more specific reason which I haven't caught on to why this happens, but yeah, no, it definitely happened to me. I just wanted to mention that. It's a pretty strange and perhaps even a little bit of a wonderful thing. I do wonder about the value of like investing in a Steam Deck if you want to like record gameplay for it, because well, without the dock you're going to be stuck at 720p and not like any normal 720p. You're going to be stuck at like a bit of an unnatural one which doesn't like format itself to 16:9, but that also depends on the games which you're playing, because certain games like refuse to be displayed at any other resolution that is not 16:9. So they'll like letterbox your thing if you have like a weird console with like a weird screen. And mind you, I have the same issue with my laptop. I mean, the laptop doesn't have 16, like, the laptop isn't like 1280 by 800, but it is in the same format as 1280 by 800. Like, I don't know if it's like 17 by something else, but it is not 16:9, so recording footage on my laptop also ends up with the black bars on the side if the game accommodates for it. And it's that if you have a bigger screen that can like accommodate something which isn't 16:9, then there are no black bars. But what I've done is I've taken 720p footage and pretty much like put it into 1080p, like 16:9, but the footage I have is not 16:9, so now these black bars are going to show up no matter what. However, if I exported the video as like 720p in its normal resolution, then maybe if you were watching on a screen that can accommodate that resolution, there won't be black bars. But I might as well just add the black bars. They're the same black bars that were in the Roblox size video, so I decided to add them in the Lost Roblox as well. As for this fight, I should also warn you, I've also removed my damage inhibitors for this one as well. So while I never upgraded my attack has always been at level 0, this is also a fight which I do not have negative 45%. I've gained back my 45% attack because this fight is also a massive pain in the ass. And to improve on it, I actually decided to add in a little juggle here, and here I'm going to reset my combo to do the taunt again. However, we've kind of reached the point where the boss fight has entered its heat mode, and in this point, you can just kind of do this action to pretty much rush into it. And this is one of those fights where I have to constantly be talking, or else this video might be demonetized forever and not be shown anywhere. Probably one of the most cruel and unusual like demonetization schemes I've been subjected to has come from like using anime music in these videos, because like usually if you use a song that's copyright claimed, you just don't get your video monetized, or at worst it gets blocked in a few countries. But using like songs from something like say Guilty Crown will literally get your video blocked worldwide forever. No one will see that video. No matter if it's private, unlisted, or public, that video is gone. I've explained these frustrations in my Roblox 4 video, so yes, I will be advertising my other videos while you're watching this other video. And maybe in the near future, I might add my playlist to the description, though I'm not sure if I'm going to do that today or in the next 4 months or somewhat. Like, the only Roblox videos I've had that are in, like, true 1920 by 1080 would be Roblox 5, Roblox 6, and Roblox Dead Cells. And when I said that my previous videos had the black bar on the side, that was a bit of a misnomer. They technically don't, because I actually recorded them, like, in their original... I actually exported them in their original format. These like Roblox Eyes and Lost Roblox videos may be the only videos with the black bars on the side in 1080p, and that will be precisely because I recorded them on the Steam Deck. The other videos I recorded on my laptop, and on my laptop I wasn't forced to I wasn't forced to like 1280 by 800. I was constricted to like recording in 1750 by 1050 or some other bizarre format, but that format is technically 1080p but not 16:9. So I just kind of stuck with that format, but it just makes the video look a little small on YouTube. But if you do have a machine that like supports it, it could fill up your entire screen. But yeah, no, just in considering the worth of a Steam Deck, I mean, yeah, you could get the dock, and it costs a lot. That's kind of the thing. And you could maybe run some games at 1080p, but not all games. I mean, maybe you could run some modern games at like 30 FPS, but like to record actual good footage at like 1080p with the Steam Deck, it's only for... I mean, a good variety of old games, and hey, it's a good emulation machine, so maybe you could get a good emulation setup running. But if you want to know what like Lost Roblox looks like at max settings at 1080p, Look at my Lost Roblox credits video. That's how that game runs. It runs at an Ocarina of Time frame rate of 15 FPS. Now, mind you, with Ocarina of Time, I think I actually prefer the N64 version over the 3DS version for petty reasons, because they are both the same game. Like, the 3DS remake is probably one of the best remakes of all time. I just think it's too smooth. Like, I know, Ocarina of Time is not Ocarina of Time to me if it doesn't have, like, a bit of crunch in its gameplay. And I'm not even sure if the crunch from that game even came from the frame rate or if it came from just the animation of that particular game. Because in the new game, I mean, the 3DS remake, it is just a tad smooth, but besides that, it's pretty much a perfect remake. Like, I'm just arguing semantics with, like, disliking that one. The Majora's Mask remake, though, is a whole different issue. That game actually, like, changes things for the worse in a lot of areas. Though, I didn't beat either version of that game, so I don't really have too much room to talk there. But I did beat Ocarina of Time on the N64. It's probably one of the only games I've beaten on an original N64, though. If I am going to play, like, a future N64 game, I'm probably going to emulate. But I'm not even sure how to do that, but I'll learn. But yeah, no, like, the Steam Deck will definitely be a better emulation machine than, like, say, the PS Vita. I actually, like, hacked my PS Vita. You know, like, I made it able to emulate everything, and then I kind of realized it's kind of pointless when I have a Steam Deck that can do the same thing better and not chug. Because, like, emulating N64 games with the PS Vita, like, the sound is constantly chugging and can never, like, stop. It is kind of awful. I mean, you can emulate some NES and Super Nintendo games, but, like, a phone could do that. And here, this racist individual is stabbing my Japanese friend. Thus, I need to take out the telekinesis to show him what a real wizard looks like. And all his enablers here are going to join in the pain I'm going to inflict on them.
Stick around, won't you? Behind you.
Now, this is one fight which I was, like, kind of dreading, but also I was very excited to return back to, because my original no damage of Soma in Lost Judgment wasn't the best. It was very sloppy. I was just, like, constantly trying to juggle him and failing, but here, I'm not going to fail the juggle. And look at that, wow! So there's this one upgrade with Snake where if you're in heat mode and you parry someone, you do that extra animation. And, like, the save files I got do not have that, like, upgrade, like, bot, because I guess it ruins certain strategies, but honestly, for, like, the boxwards, like, backwards, like, leapfrog launcher thing, if you understand what that is, it really doesn't affect much of anything. But yeah, here I'm just doing the old floating combo. So yeah, just follow the thing I did there and you should be able to do a floating combo. Oh yeah, and this is one of the most ridiculous things about, like, the damage decrease whenever you're doing, like, a juggle combo, is that if you juggle them for long enough and you do a heat action while they're still in the air and haven't hit the ground yet, that damage reduction also applies to the heat action and you deal, like, no damage. Mind you, this video is still amazing even with that ridiculous damage reduction, because, like, look at how little damage that did. Like, that's just ridiculous. Mind you, when you're, like, fully upgraded in this game, and I mean, like, fully upgraded. Mind you, I got no attack upgrades in this game. I got no attack upgrades for this fight. So, like, when you have no attack upgrades, like, pretty much when you buy all the attack upgrades, this game's a joke. It's like a walk in the park, like 100%. This is kind of true of, like, most Yakuza games, except for, like, Yakuza 3. That game never becomes a joke. The enemies always have a ton of health, and you always kind of have to be good at the game, in a sense, per se. Or, you know, you can play it, like, in a more tedious way to get things going along, but, you know, that game on Legend, enemies are always going to have a ton of health, while with future Yakuzas. Once you're like fully upgraded with attack, it's pretty much like over. Like Yakuza 6, Kiwami 2, unless you have 300 attack, like I mean, the game just plays itself at that point. Just do a couple heat actions and the guy dies. And to be fair, that's also true of Judgment, but Judgment and like Lost Judgment, and this also applies to Roblox Eyes and Lost Roblox, made it more convenient not to get attack upgrades, because like in Yakuza 6 and Kiwami 2, it's like this whole like you have to raise a number to 300, while in Roblox Eyes, it was just 3 straight upgrades. It's very simple. And while Lost Roblox may have made it more complicated, they just made it 6 upgrades this time. So it's like, you know, whatever, like that's fine. But yeah, I'm just destroying this guy here, and then boom, doing that thing I did with him in the first fight, just showing him who's boss and all that. And okay, so here I forgot what I thought I was gonna pull out the skateboard at this point, or I might have already pulled out the skateboard by this point. And here, just trying to keep my juggles going well, but here I accidentally timed it that like my speed boost is gone, so instead I'm just going to go for this knife parry. But yeah, no, like this Roblox video has been a long time coming. I don't know, I kind of wish that like I could keep a schedule, or like every 3 months or so I'd release a new Roblox video. I mean, I don't want to like release them too often, but I kind of want to like, you know, release them like on an occasional basis. But the last time I released a Roblox video was like at the start of this year, and it took like 8 months for this one to come out. Mind you, I've been releasing other videos in that time, but you know, still. I mean, maybe I should have done this video sooner, but to be fair, I feel if I did it sooner, I wouldn't have all the tech I have now. Like, this is pretty much the perfect time for it to come out, but it has been a while. I've been busy with other games. I've been busy not playing Ishin. I've been busy no damaging Resident Evil 4, the remake. I'm not done with that yet. In fact, I kind of have to return to that, but I got tired of it. Like, I got tired of, like, Chapter 13 or whatnot, and I instead went and no damaged the entirety of the Resident Evil 1 remake. Well, not exactly the entirety, but the entirety of the Jill campaign. But I still have the Chris campaign and the other endings per se to do, but it is basically the same game with like 1 or 2 differences here and there. But yeah, no, I did that. And then there's games I have to return to. Like, okay, so here I kind of, I think I reached the sloppy part of this no damage. To be fair, given how much health this guy and the next guy have, like, getting a little sloppy by this point isn't the worst thing in the world, but, you know, I mean, it's just that, like, it would have been cool to be doing combos the whole time, but this is definitely a massive improvement over my original no damage of Soma. Like, I actually got to, like, style on him this time around. And also, the save file for this fight in particular starts with low health. Thank you for that. Oh my goodness, I mean, I really did want to tackle this fight with low health, but I didn't want to, like, redo the entire long battle just to set up this condition of having low health at this encounter. Very glad the save file like just starts like that. However, I'm not going to be able to do low health for the next fight, and to be fair, not having low health for the next fight made it so that I actually had to like do something unique compared to every single other fight in this video. You'll see what I mean when we get there.
Pay attention.
You really gonna do that?
If you guys don't back off, then I will. Do you know how many people I've killed through the years?
Nah. But if you were really that kind of scum, we wouldn't have come down here. You wouldn't be the kind of person worth saving. This one is my fight, guys.
The way I see this, Tak, you and Kuwana both have your reasons. Something to consider. But between the both of you, is there really a right answer?
The final boss fight of Lost Roblox. He is hard as fuck. like the first time I fought Final Kuwana in like Lost Judgment, it took me about 8 hours. This time it didn't take me so long, but it still took me 5 hours to no damage this guy. This guy is tricky. Like when I returned to like no damage Soma, he was like surprisingly easy. This guy is still like insanely difficult. Like, I don't know, just like his health is a little hard to deal with. Like doing juggle combos can be a little bit tricky because he does have that get up attack. And here I have set up a specific juggle combo just so that I can insert this skateboard heat action with a bit of smoothness. I mean, how smooth was that? I think it was decently smooth, but I'm telling you, like, I mean, this is one of those fights where I no damaged it. No, not even. This is even worse than like no damaging it, but not with style. I was so close to like no damaging Kuwana. And then at the final moment, I failed because I tried doing the taunt heat action, but with the crane style. And I had to learn a very shocking truth that the taunt heat action only works if you do it with the tiger style. I think that was also true in Roblox size, but I'm not 100% sure about that. Can someone confirm that for me? Because it's only possible with the tiger style. Mind you, every single style has its own different type of taunt, but I thought the taunt heat action would still work with all of them, but no, I was wrong, and it cost me the entire game. And here's a strategy which I'm going to borrow from my original no damage, because my original no damage in Lost Judgment of Kuwana is probably one of my best. It's probably the best one in the video. So I'm going to borrow this strategy because it's very good for transitioning to the next part very quickly. Like, I did a fancy combo in the beginning, and now I'm going to like assault him with Boxer while he's still afraid. He's still like in the agony state, and I'm going to chase him with Boxer once we go all the way upstairs here. And also, when I mentioned that having full health would force me to like play this in a different method, I was talking about heat conversate. I forgot how to say the word. Like consuming heat in a way where I don't waste all of it and like spend the rest of the video like flailing aimlessly because I have no heat. Because when you don't really have heat, it is kind of hard to like hone in on this guy. Like you really need heat to like get the really good like juggle things going on. Like the backwards, Boxer launches and whatnot. So yeah, I'm going to chase him with Boxer. And then I'm going to do this heat action when I send them up in the air, because if I extend my combo anymore, then the damage of that heat action goes down. But yeah, the unique thing I do in this fight is I actually use the Flux Fixture. Now the Flux Fixture got really nerfed in this game. It basically deals like no damage, and it does recover your heat somewhat, but you also have like a bunch of other ways to recover heat. But in this specific case, with a fight this long and needing this much heat throughout most of its run, I pretty much had to pull it out. And I was honestly a little scared to use it because I didn't really know how to use it well. In fact, when no damaging this fight, I had to practice it to like just relearn it again. And I did relearn it, and now I know how to do it, and it is very useful, but it still requires me to like parry the enemy. And the thing with Kuwana is that you really have to watch out for like when he's going to hit you or when he's going to do his grab attack, because you can't parry grab attack. See that thing? And also timing that thing is a bitch. They changed like the interface of it, and maybe this interface makes a little bit more sense whenever you do it. But I think it looks uglier. I really like the stylization of that interface in Roblox size. It's like part of the effect, you know, it has like a heat mode thing going on with that. That's just a button press. It just looks a little cheap. I don't fuck with it. Honestly, it's like a little harder to hit for me now that like I learned how to do it in Roblox size. But I did learn how to time it now, but it's always a bitch to time it. Honestly, it was a bitch to time it in the original game as well. I mean, in Roblox size, and it's still a bitch here, but like for slightly different reasons. And here I am going to do... And I'm going to do a heat action here, which I wasn't planning on doing. I did mention this heat action would show up again, and here it is. Boom. I think one of the reasons I was so scared to return to this fight originally is just because I already did it super well before. I did not know how I was going to match or top that. I think I maybe did top it, though this attempt is longer than the previous one, but the reason that it's longer is because in the previous one, I fought him with like attack level 2, while here, this is attack level 0 with the equipment that restricts you 45%, so I am dealing less damage than before, so this fight is longer because of that. And also the last phase of this is kind of sloppy. We're reaching kind of the sloppy phase where I'm just kind of fighting for my life kind of frantically, like I really do not want him to hit me. And like that little mortal reversal, like it never like connects for some reason, even though I perfectly dodged that. Why did it not connect? This happens like 3 times in a row, and it's very frustrating. Like, oh, this is scary. Like when Kuwana's in his final phase here, he is like a monster. So I'm playing it like really cautiously. You don't necessarily have to play it super duper cautiously. You could get more risky, though when you get more risky, it is a massive... Oh, I'm getting the hiccups now because I'm straining my voice too much. Whenever I do like the massive, like the hiccups start to build up. And also I did eat some gnocchi before recording this final section of commentary, so that might be part of it. But like the music is epic. Honestly, like there's certain Roblox videos where like I think about the final bosses of those videos and I already know what music I want to use for them. This is one of those like moment. Ooh, hiccup right there. But yeah, no, like the music here, like I think goes perfectly. Like this is kind of what I've been imagining for like a lot of months now. Like same thing happened to me with Roblox 6. If you've seen it, you know what I mean. But yeah, we're about to reach the end here, but right now I'm kind of going back to basics, trying to do the most basic launcher ever. And hey, you know, I'm struggling here, and here he's going way too down, so I'm trying to like dodge away from him because I think he's going to do like a little sweep attack. But besides that, we're pretty much done here. Like this is nearly the end of the video. I don't really have anything more to say, so all I have is to give my congratulations. And here I'm going to do something kind of cool where instead of like hopping over him and like throwing him, I'm going to do a heavy attack. But yeah, no. Thank you so much for watching this like Roblox rendition, and I will see you all then for whenever I come back to the Roblox series.